Hello and welcome to CelloProfessor.com. I'm Jamie Feist and I teach cello at Central Michigan University. Today we're going to be talking about the importance of a relaxed wrist in the bow hand and the bow arm. We use this for a lot of things on the cello, virtually everything. I can give you a couple examples. We use it for the sautillé bow stroke, the fast spiccato. We use it for legato bow changes. We use it for string crossings at the tip. So we use this all the time, and it's really important that this wrist remain relaxed. So I have some exercises for this. First of all, what I'd like to do is just put your elbow up a bit. Turn the back of your hand to the left, which we call pronation. This is pronating, this is supinating, right? Pronation, supination, okay. And we just move our forearm like this. I call this door on a hinge. It's kind of like a door. Your forearm's a door, your elbow's the hinge. All right, and just make that a little smaller, a little faster, and just let the wrist go. All right, this is the first step in the exercise. I'd like you to try another one. I'd like you to move your arm this way. I had a younger student that called this the robot wave. So your upper arm remains up, and you just dip your forearm up and down. And then what I'd like you to do again is just make it a little smaller and a little faster, and just relax your wrist. There it goes. So here's one that goes more horizontally. Here's one that goes a little more vertically. Now let me say something about this motion. This is what we would call a passive motion. I'm moving my wrist by allowing it to move. That's a big difference. Moving it directly or allowing it to move. That's a very big difference in technique. When we use very specific muscle contractions to move the hand up and down, like you might wave at somebody. Well, you may not wave at somebody exactly like this. You might look, hello. But if I were to move my arm like this, I'm using the wrist extensors and the wrist flexors to move my hand. When I do this, I'm actually I'm rotating my upper arm, and the wrist is just going up and down as a reaction to the motion in my upper arm. Big difference. And in all those examples that I showed you, the wrist was passive. Here's another one. Example there. So we use this quite a bit, as I've mentioned. We've done this exercise. Let's kick it up a notch. Grab your trusty pencil. Find your bow hold on the pencil and try the same ones. Can you move your wrist passively like you did without the pencil? With the pencil in the hand or without the pencil in the hand? You want to work to be able to do this. Now, my guess is a number of you are trying this right now, and your wrist has just locked up. It doesn't move. All right, a couple reasons. First of all, it could be that you're squeezing too hard, particularly with the thumb. Try it again with a very relaxed thumb and as relaxed a grip as you can. Now, some of you are still probably struggling with it. It's normal. And I would like to explain what's hard about it. Hopefully I have it right. So you doctors, physical therapists, and anyone else who really knows anatomy can tell me if I'm right or wrong. But I'm pretty sure I'm right on it. Okay, so let's think a little bit about the anatomy of the arm. I think it really helps to understand what the difficulty is here. When you use your finger flexors, your wrist extensor muscle stabilizes your wrist, meaning it holds it still. The way our arm is designed is instead of having all of our muscles in our hand, right, we have little ones in there. Instead of that, we have much larger muscles here in the forearm, and we have long tendons that pass right over the wrist here, up to the fingers. Because those tendons pass over the wrist, every time we flexed our fingers, it would also flex our wrist, or at least there's the probability that could happen because it passes over the wrist. To prevent that from happening, your wrist extensor on the other side stabilizes your wrist. I believe this is a synergistic muscle group. At least that's what it says in my muscle book. I feel very smart now. Haha. Okay. So when soon as you put something in your hand, like a bow or a pencil, your wrist extensor is holding your wrist straight. Even though you may have a very light touch on the pencil, your wrist extensor contracts and holds your wrist still. So you've been doing this your whole life. Your wrist extensor has been the synergistic muscle for your finger flexors. And you need to untrain it. That's right, untraining. And that's what being a cellist is all about. It's about training. So that's what I recommend. So first, practice your forearm détaché motion. That's what this is called when we use this bow stroke. It's a forearm détaché stroke. So practice it with your forearm détaché, your door on a hinge, and just let your wrist go. Pronate your hand a little bit, and then try the robot wave. Dip up and down. Make it smaller. Get your wrist going. Try it with the pencil. Then we're going to do the next step. Take your bow, hook your fingers around the bow, and try it like this. Can you get your wrist to go? See that? That's all passive motion, folks. It's all passive. Sometimes I'll have students say, look at that. How does that person move the wrist so fast like that? And then I'll say, look up the arm and see. It's actually the forearm moving and the wrist is moving passively. And then once they see it, they go, oh yeah, I see that. Don't assume that just because the hand is moving, that automatically means that it's an active motion. It could be a passive motion. So that's your homework. That's what I highly recommend doing. And you know what? You can do this with beginners. I say do it in the first year. Start training their wrist, retraining their wrist extensor to let go. The muscle on the top. Train it to let it go. Train your students to let that go so that they have a much more relaxed wrist. You know, we use it there too. Oh, we just use it all the time. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.